I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.
All right, then. Greetings and salutations. I just got home and I'm playing with my device, seeing what I missed. And I saw this. The links is in the description box, by the way. I think I put about 4 or 5 links in there because it's going to back up everything I say. See, I don't talk out of my behind. I don't talk out of my ass. So let me talk about this real quick. I wish some of y'all who actually cares about this try to dive deep into the issue rather than the communita argument. Many of y'all can barely scratch the surface, right? I heard 18 letter back, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, when he went off about how women are, and I'm like, bruh, you're not scratching the surface. You're what you're talking about is your experience. You're not talking about the root cause of why why men are having problems with women and why men got problems with each other. That's why we had this gender war. Let me tell you what my goals are, so we can have some understanding. The BWE, the Black Women Empowerment, and the Black Manosphere both needs to go. Both of them need to be investigated for the doxing to the years, for 15 years of doxing and harassment, what they do not only to the opposite sex, but the doxing harassment they have done unto themselves. The women groups need to be investigated. The men's groups need to be investigated. And I'm gonna talk about that more later on, right? Talk about more of that later on. But I'm watching a little bit of DJ Witch Doctor's live stream he had late last night, and it ended an hour or so ago, an hour and a half ago, talking about how to end the gender war. And it's the same basic complaints that Negroes always keep making, not trying to scratch the surface. See, this is a systematic problem. Okay, what's going on, V-Dub? I see V-Dub right here. What's going on, V-Dub? And y'all keep failing to address it. And you're not going to solve it by containing it within the framework of the communita or Black America, right? You're not going to contain it. You're not going to solve it, because we live in a global society. We live in a integrated society for the most part. A lot of y'all, excuse me, a lot of y'all are playing right up into what the powers that be want. And y'all don't even, y'all protesting against me. Y'all's talking points. You have a grown man on the panel talking about, well, get you a botch, as if that's supposed to solve that having sexual relations is supposed to solve everything. No, it's not, Surism. It does not. But I'm going to go to an article. Go to an article real quick, and before I go to the article, knowing how things are on YouTube, let me do this quick before I go in here, because I'm going to talk about the fair use. This is on the fair use, because I'm going to talk about this thing called shame, blame, and explain, SBE. A lot of black men believe that SBE, and a lot of white men and Asian men in the manosphere believe that shame, blame, and explain is something to use to solve the world's problems. Finding women to attack online is supposed to solve not only the world's problem, but to their individual problem. You got a man out here. You have a man out here who is, what's going, Hammer Time? What's going, Hammer Time? Don't and I'm apologize if I miss y'all, if y'all in the chat room, because I'm reading and and stuff. So I'm going to start reading some things. So if I don't see y'all in the chat room, I'm going to apologize to y'all in advance. Queen Sunkiss, I'm apologize to you in advance if I don't see you or any of y'all in the chat room, because I'm going to read an article or two. I'm read some studies, which is in the description box, by the way. But you got people around here who believe that shame, blame, and explain, coming online and talking trash about a woman that they don't know, a woman they had never met, and they use it to think that that's a moving a needle in their personal life. You got a guy out here who sits at a side of a lake, yelling at ducks. As ducks is swimming across the lake, he's yelling about he's MGTOW and women ain't this, women ain't that, blah 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 blah. He's not that important for me to mention his name, but he's part of the problem, right? Um, and because of that, we also see, because of the SBE, the explosion of SBE content, or Keisha bashing content, or Becky bashing content. You see the numbers of femicide going up. And when I say femicide, the numbers of femicide, I'm not talking about Iran and uh, the Middle Eastern countries, countries where there has a strong, a very restrictive, patriarchal society. What I'm talking about, societies like South Korea, uh, Australia, Mexico, Western Europe, uh, Canada, and here in the United States, in the industrialized nations, there's an uptick of femicide, and it's correlating with the explosion of SBE content, of anti Keisha content, anti Becky content, anti woman content in general. Which leads me to another issue that needs to be solved, right? So, like again, let me read this article here from World um, Matrix report. Matrix metrics. Sorry, Metrics put out report. Excuse me, for 2026. It was published. When was it published? It published on. It was published on February, but it was verified on July 21st of this year. And it says male loneliness statistics. Male loneliness is shaped by more than feelings. It shifts with age, employment, income, and who a man lives with. Across the page, we'll see how factors like living alone, under deployment, keyword, under deployment. Let me stop there for a minute, right? Let me stop there for a minute. Under deployment. You ever notice that in this sector, YouTube, nobody talks about what job they have? They always want to talk about, oh, I'm pimping. I got some batches. I got me some, I got me wife. Notice they never talk about what they do for a living. Notice they never talk about their jobs or their careers or their education. That lets you know. Now, it's nobody's business what your job is, but at the same time, you're more talking about what you did with your wife, or what you did with your baby mama the last night, or what you did with some prostitute that day. You talk more about that than what you do about what your job. Sex is more important to y'all than what your job is. But anyway, that let me know that a lot of y'all in this space is underdeployed. Anyway, let me get back to where I was reading, right? Across the page, you'll see many factors: living alone, underdeployment, internet access can raise loneliness, alongside protective habits such as exercising regularly. We also connect loneliness to mental health risks, including major dis- uh, depressive disorder, anxiety, and suicidal ideation. Idolation, plus the health benefits of a stronger support group. Now, in this article, it shows like the key takeaways is uh, 18 to 24 men are 52% more likely to report feeling lonely than their female peers, age 18 to 24. And nobody don't want to talk about why, right? Nobody do not want to talk about the why. And you know what? You can take this down. You can take it down so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Nobody over here don't know why do men between the age of 18 and 24 are more lonely than his female peers. Nobody want to stress this point. But I'm gonna tell you why. There's an education gap. The more men, the more educated a man is, the more access he attains. Access to more people, access to the top echelons of society, more time to travel. Uh, and we have, within the last 10, 15 years, we have the manosphere downplaying the importance of education while women who are supporting men's groups like the men's rights movement trying to convey that the education system has been anti-male, but at the same time they in the manosphere are saying that college is not for them, so they shoot themselves in the foot. Number two, 55 to 64-year-old men, 28 report frequent loneliness compared to 19% of women in the same age group. Older men 65 plus live alone are 3.2 more likely to experience chronic loneliness. Unemployed men are 2.3 times more likely to report chronic loneliness than employed men. Low income men, household income under 30K, are 1.2 more likely to feel lonely than high income men. See, that's what I'm talking about. And a lot of these men in this space are low income. A lot of them are broke. A lot of us in here are broke and don't want to admit that they're broke. Okay? Don't want to admit that they're broke. But let me talk about this too. Men in poverty are 3.2 more likely to live alone, increasing loneliness risk. Men who exercise 3 times reportedly 30% lower loneliness. Men who smoke 2 times more likely to report loneliness. Alcohol intake, less than 2 drinks report uh, more than two drinks report 27% higher loneliness. Men who feel lonely. Okay, yeah. We got that part. All right. Now it's all here in this report, but you know, some of it has been verified, right? And there's economic factors. See, nobody on that panel, far as I can tell, and I apologize if I get it wrong. I apologize, but I don't think nobody last night on DJ Witch Doctor's channel mentioned the economic factors. It's not about you know I'm listening to 18 letter and Candy Cane had this exchange, and I think that was one of the most silliest things I ever heard. Thinking that uh sex in marriage is the just getting a woman is going to solve, or getting a man is just going to solve everything. Getting a man or getting a woman is not going to solve this issue. This is a psychological issue. It's also an economic issue, and nobody is touching on the real issue. And this space really needs to elevate, stop doing the low brow and start doing the high brow. They don't want to get to the root cause of the problem. It's always the black woman don't want me, so I go to the white woman, or the black men can't build, so I opted to go outside my race, and try to do these. Uh, uh, they like to go ahead, and I'm speaking in general, by the way, so I don't want nobody get their panties in the wad. But you hear this so many times, and people don't want to identify the strings that's being pulled for y'all to think the way y'all do. But let me talk about the economic factors, right? Unemployed men, again, report loneliness than employment. I mean, it's saying the same thing over and over, right? Men in non-union jobs are 22% more likely to experience loneliness than union members. Uh-oh. This is for the people who are in the red states. These are people who are in the red states. See, some of us who live in the red states, we live in right to work states. See, the union, some of us who have the union, right? There's a brotherhood or a fellowship when it comes to the union in some respects. People get to keep their jobs, and if somebody do lose their jobs, they will quickly get another apprenticeships within the union, more pay, all that. And that's going to go to my solutions to the problem. I might talk about these solutions later on in this live stream, because nobody don't want to dive deep into the issue. So this basically repeating itself is all these findings from 4 or 5 um yeah, men age 45 to 54 who are underemployed are 31% more likely to be lonely. Well, look at people who are headlining these live streams. These niggas who are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. They online 12 hours a day. And a lot of them are broke. Men who are men with high school diploma or less are 1.9 times more likely to be lonely than those with a bachelor's degree. Uh-oh. But a lot of y'all in here in this space are anti-education. Oh, I'm against the Department of Education. I voted for Donald Trump because I'm against the Department of Education. What's right here? See, y'all shooting yourselves in the foot. Lifestyle, exercise. Yeah, okay, yeah, we got this right here. Men who garden report 21% lower loneliness. That's why I think that some of y'all might need to get some hobbies, like planting a garden or something, instead of going to the side of a lake and yell at ducks about why you MGTOW and why women falsely accuse you of this, that, and the third. Some of y'all need to get a damn hobby instead of coming online trying to shame, blame, and explain. Hold on, let me check the chat room. Not everybody, not everybody. You okay? Are there jobs in red states that have unions? Yes, yes, they are. I'm not denying that, but red states are not friendly to unions. Because you look at some of these red state laws, some of these red states, they're right to work states. They're not union states like Michigan, Wisconsin, uh, um, you know, um, New York or so. So I'm just or Pennsylvania, you know. So it's there, Dink and Dave. But anyway, where was I at? Right, men who binge watch TV daily are 35% more likely to be lonely. So yeah, it's all up in here. I'm not gonna go through the entire. Uh, wait. You know what? Hold on. Let's talk about this right here, real quick. Right. 61% of men report having no close friends to confide in, compared to 44% of women. Only 12% of men have a best friend they can talk to weekly versus 21% of women. Men aged men aged 18 to 24 are 58% less likely to attend social events than married, no, excuse me, than women. I don't know why than women in the same age group. That goes back to what I said earlier, right? That goes back to what I was saying earlier when it comes to education. And those who have a college degree have more access, a bachelor's degree at least, has more access to people than those who are either underdeployed or have solely a high school diploma, because more money equals more traveling. Uh, and if you got more money, you mean, you can spend money on plane tickets, passports, and yes, fix your car. Okay, make sure your car is fixed. See, most people don't leave outside the area because they have to maintain maintenance on their vehicle. So that's part of the reason why people who are don't travel as much, because they have things at home they need to do some maintenance on, right? Let me see. 43% of men say they don't have time for social activities, citing work or family. Yeah, that right there leads to 40. Yeah, that this one, what I just mentioned, leads to this right here. Right? So men who are divorced, separated, are 3.2 times more likely to report no social support. 78% of men prefer to solve problems alone rather than seek help. Let me see. 31% of men use social media but report feeling more lonely afterward. But I can go more and more onto this. Let me see. Um, yeah, this by here are the male loneliness statistics by world um, metrics. But let me go to another site, since people got their uh, panties in the wad, because I know somebody gonna watch this, and he's you got somebody gonna see this live stream, and he's gonna go to his lake, and there's ducks swimming at that lake, and he's going to yell and say, I'm a Big J's a punk, Big J's this and that and third. But let's read another thing from Sarah Whitemore. This came out August 12, 2026. This came out yesterday. Loneliness statistics 2026, 40 plus data points on the academic by age and gender, by Sarah Whitemore. And I wish this computer, okay, let me just do it like this. Let me use my finger to just touch screen here. Loneliness is now treat. Hold on, let me check the chat. Let me check the chat. Employers are stuck with dead weight employees that they can't get rid of. Oh, I see the. I'm not. I'm not saying unions are perfect. I'm not saying that. Deacon Dave. I'm not saying that at all. All right. Let me get right back to where I was at. Loneliness is now treated as a public health crisis. About half of the U.S. adults report feeling lonely. The U.S. Surgeon General has compared its health toll to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And young adults and men report some of the highest rates of all. This page collects more than 40 loneliness statistics on how common it is, who is most affected, the health effects, and the male loneliness epidemic drawn from the U.S. Surgeon General, Gallup, Meta Gallup, Cinta, and peer review research. Cinta and peer reviews. I hope I announced that name right. Um, every figure is written as a single quotable line with its source and year, so each can stand on it. So each can stand on its own. Excuse me. Now I'm not gonna read all of this, but it kind of backs up what the last page, the last site I went on, and this is not gender based, but it does talk gender based. Um, no, it talks both sexes. Then it goes to men, right? Because I read some of this. Loneliness is widespread and rising. About 50% of U.S. adults report experiencing it, according to U.S. Surgeon General 2023 in a 2024 SIGTA survey of more than 7,500 adults, put the figure at 57%. Daily loneliness is common too. Gallup found that about 1 in 5 U.S. adults feel lonely at any given day. The exact number varies by each survey asks the question, but every major source lands in the same range. Roughly half of adults feel lonely at least sometimes. Now, it does not break down um, by gender. Okay, and I wish it does though, because it would. Okay, now though, now here is the now where they bring up the male loneliness part, right? Here's where they bring the male loneliness part. Men are at the center of the loneliness story. About 15% of men report having no close friends, up sharply from just 3% in 1990. And among single men, the figure reaches about 20%. Loneliness is a frequent, not, uh, oh, I'm sorry, is frequent, not a cat. I need my glasses on, y'all. Um, a cash. Anyway, I can't even pronounce the word, y'all. About 40% of men say they feel lonely at least once a week, and single men are about 3 times more likely to report loneliness than married men. Um, the trend starts young. The share of 12th grade boys often feel lonely rose from 28% in 2000 to 35% in 2019. Men are also less likely to seek help or build new friendships, which deepens the gap. For one increasingly common response to that isolation, uh, see the best AI girlfriend apps that market themselves on companionship. Um, yeah. So let me read this further about the Gen Z folks. Loneliness is the highest among the young, not the old. Young adults age 18 to 34 report the highest loneliness of any age group, with about 27% of those 19 to 29 feel lonely compared to 17% of those 65 and older. The pattern overruns the usual ex- assumption. While isolation among the elderly is a serious concern, survey after survey now finds that the loneliness group is people in their late teens and 20s. The same group stepping back from dating and in person socializing. The causes overlap with falling friendship and dating. Young adults spend less time with friends in person than any recent cohort, and many described feeling disconnected even while constantly online. See, I'm gonna have a solution to that problem in a minute. Now, I'm not gonna talk about this. Okay, let me go down here because this is about the gender war. Loneliness by gender, male versus female. Both men and women report loneliness, but the shape differs. Women are more likely to report and discuss loneliness on surveys, while men are more likely to be socially isolated with no close friends and less likely seek connection. The friendship gap is the clearest divide. Men have seen the steeper decline in close friendships since the 90s, which is why the male loneliness epidemic has become its own area of research, even though women report loneliness at a similar or higher rates on some measures. Coping differs too. Women are more likely to lean on friends and family, while men often more withdrawal, which can lead, well, no, excuse me, which can turn isolation into self-reinforcing cycle. Relationships are one of the strongest buffers against loneliness. Married and partnered adults constantly report lower loneliness than single adults, and single men are about 3 times more likely to feel lonely than married men. The link runs both ways. Loneliness makes dating and commitment harder, while strong relationships reduce it, which is why the loneliness epidemic and the decline in marriage and dating are closely tied. Now, here's where um I'm going to say I have a problem with this right here, but I'm gonna read it nonetheless, right? I'm gonna read this nonetheless, and I'm gonna move on to the next article, right? Move on to the next article. There is no single cause, but the drivers overlap. People spend less time together in person than they did 2 decades ago. Work, socializing have moved online, and community institutions that once brought people together have weakened. Let me add on to that, right? That's why I said there are some men who y'all support on online, and no, don't talk and don't think I'm talking about black men. Do not think I'm just talking about the black manosphere. You got white men. Well, I'm talking about the Asian guys, right? The the presidential election in South Korea about I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. the Asian manosphere supported a far right, nearly fascist candidate in South Korea, and that candidate won the election. And his policies were geared towards curbing women's reproductive and women's social rights under this veneer of traditional values. And it's the same way this happened over here when it comes to white men, um, majority white men, because you got the black men here who favored the policies of Donald Trump and Project 2025. And I'm going to talk about Project 2025 on a future video. I don't know when. I might want to do a pre-record video on that. In our social institutions has weakened, and you got men online who want civil war and there's just a guy named What If Phalis who is a incel, who's a self-described incel who favors a civil war in Western Europe and in Canada and the United States, because young white men are not having access to available white women of childbearing age. And this person is on Fox News. This person is on various major talk show, radio show hosts like Dad Saves America, likes in certain hangs around with the Charlie Kirk types. Anyway, let me keep it moving, right? Technology plays a double role. Phones and social media keep people connected at a distance while crowding out face-to-face contact, and remote work has removed a daily source of casual social reaction for millions. The result is more contact and less connection. The decline in face-to-face time is measurable. The average weekly in-person social time among young adults, has fallen roughly half since 2010, one of the clearest signals behind the loneliness numbers. Loneliness and decline in the dating feed each other. Let me check the chat room real quick. Nobody in the chat room. I'll keep it moving, right? As young adults date and partner less, uh, many spend more time alone and in isolation, in turn makes the effort of dating feel harder. The loop visible in our Gen Z dating statistics. One response is technological. A growing young people, excuse me, the growing number of lonely people, especially younger men, are turning to AI companion and chat bots for conversations and comfort, a market built directly on the loneliness numbers above and covered in our reviews of the best AI girlfriend apps. Um, but anyway, I don't take this one. It's kind of missing the point on this article. So let me move on to the other article. Right here. Move on to the other article about Raven Front. 12 reasons men blame women for their loneliness instead of going to therapy. The male loneliness story, and I hope my internet's working. Okay. Um, yeah, it is. Okay. Oh, where we at? Where we at? The male loneliness story has two tracks running at once, but they are not the same story. Now, I may disagree with this one. I'm not sure I agree with totally with this one yet. Okay, just let you know I'm not totally agreeing with this, but my mind might change. But anyway, one track is generally painful. Men in America are struggling with disconnection. Many have no close friends outside of a romantic partner, and culturally conditioning that tell them asking for help was weakness has left a lot of them with nowhere to turn when the relationship ends or the job disappears. Oh, says again, job disappears. See, I'm gonna talk about what the solution is. Like again, I'm gonna tell y'all what the solution to this problem. Because men supposed to solve problems. Men supposed to be problem solvers, not seeking entertainment. But anyway, um, our days start to blur. The disconnection is real and has sometimes has and it has consequences rather. The other version is one circulating in podcasts and comment sections and the corners of social media where young men go to feel righteous about their loneliness, blame women. No circumstance, not cultural conditioning, not the decades of meshing that told men vulnerability was the enemy. Women, especially women who won't date them. You know what? I'm starting to agree with this. I'm sorry. Yeah, I gotta agree with this because yeah, this falls under shame, blame, and explain. SBE. This right here, what she's describing is SBE, shame, blame, and explain. But anyway, let's keep it moving on, right? And I forgot where I was lost at. I'll read this sentence over again. Women, specifically women who won't date them, women who are too independent, women who have too many standards, women who are choosing to be emotionally unavailable while simultaneously blamed for carrying all the emotional labor. These two accusations coexist without anyone noticing the contradiction, which is a level of self-awareness that especially the genre has not yet demonstrated. Um, I got to say this, right? Um, I know this is a woman writing this. I don't think she's understanding the two. Okay, I'm gonna try to explain this, right? Uh, and this is the beef within the manosphere circles. You got the beef between uh the passport bros and SYSBM or the MRA and their problem with MGTOW and MGTOW's problems with or everybody's problems with the incel. Um, the incels coming from the perspective of not being chose. The MGTOW and others are come from the perspective of well, she dumped me of being rejected. It's both forms of rejection, and she's not the author does not understand the contradiction here. There is no contradiction. It's two groups. It's two sides. Or no, scratch that. That's the wrong way to look to say it. There are two different perspectives, and they're clashing. But the same enemy is the woman. The woman is the enemy. But the two people. But in there's two schools of thought among the men who comes online and who shame, blame, and explain. I hope I get that. Um, I hope I'm clear on that. If not, I'll talk about that a little bit later. What follows is not an argument that men don't have problems. They do, and some of those problems are serious. But it's the attempt to trace 12 rounds by which I am in pain gets rerouted into, and it's her fault, and why that reroute, while emotionally convenient, is making everything worse. That's why you have your boy Royce M stalking. That's why that's why you have what happened to Adrian McGowan in 2009 by Tony. And that's why she's no longer here in the world of living. Anyway, let me keep it moving though. The foundational problem isn't reluctance, it's architecture. Research uh, confirms that men are generally less likely than women to seek professional help for mental health problems. And stronger endorsement of traditional masculinity is associated with more negative attitudes towards psychological help seeking and greater self stigma. That's not a small cultural twerk. That's a belief system woven on how a lot of men understand their self worth. Men are more often encouraged to equate worth with toughness, control, endurance, and self reliance, for which some therapy feels like a threat to autonomy. The therapist's office is a room where you sit down and describe your problems to a stranger. For anyone whose contempt self concept is built on solving problems alone, that experience does not feel helpful. It feels like a proof that you have already failed, which is why the blame narrative gets attraction. Blame women or feminism or the economy. Wait, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You got to blame the economy. This is one part where I disagree with, because I'm gonna talk about the how the economy and the structure help create this. Anyway, we keep it moving. Or anything external that keeps self-reliant story intact. The problem is out there, not in here. No need to sit in a room and examine the architecture. The armor stays on. Oh shit. Oh, okay. Where I'm at. Okay. Women are the primary, often sole emotional support system. Here is a statistic that explains a lot. According to a 2025 Pew Research Center survey, women are more likely than men to tap a broad array of sources when they need emotional support, including friends, family members, and mental health professional, while men communicate with their friends more less uh, far less than women do. Researchers shared on NPR found that found that men are equally as likely as men to reach out to their spouse for emotional support, but less likely to reach out to friends and family, suggesting that the partnered woman are usually responsible for the entirety of their male partner's emotional support needs, while leaving men with particularly no support system if that relationship fails. Well, you have to blame that on the structure itself, the system structure as well. But anyway, I'll keep it moving though. I agree with 75% of this. About 80% of this. I agree with 80% of what's being said. This means the exit of a partner doesn't just hurt in the ordinary way that breakups hurt. It removes the entire support infrastructure at once. The grief that follows is real. that happens next, whether a man builds a broader support network or decides the woman who left has caused his isolation, is a fork in the road that makes that a lot of men take the wrong way. And here is the money shot. Oh man, I'm glad. See, I'm glad somebody's actually calling this out. This is where I agree with, right? I make top. Mm-mm. Yeah, taking up for you got a grown man taking up for other grown men online who treat him bad while he's saying he's MGTOW. While he's saying he support these male groups, while the leaders of these male groups shun him. And he's not the only one. You got people around here. You got these Delta November types who seek a BJS Igmore, who will seek a Fresh and Fit, who will seek out an Anger Man, who seek out a Sneeko, and they get pooped upon, and they still try to be waving that flag of the manosphere, wave the flag of the red pill, when the leaders of the red pill and some or half of the red pill uh, people don't want the other men around who have the same angst about women. Anyway, let me keep it moving though. But let me talk about this money shot. This is the money shot. The manosphere has monetized the grievance. The manosphere figures promote an anti-social view of masculinity that just happens to make them a lot of money. BJS makes money off of y'all. Anger Man makes money off of y'all. Green Gorilla makes money off of y'all. Obsidian makes money off of y'all. Fresh and Fit makes money off of y'all. The Tate brothers make money off of y'all. Rollo Tomasi makes money off of y'all. Hannah Pearl Davis makes money off of y'all. And even though she Me Too a black man named Marcus Robinson. But yet y'all still support Hannah Pearl Davis, who Me Too her coach, Marcus Robinson. And y'all still going to support people who use your problems and will not help you get a better life. But let's keep it moving though, right? Some sell online courses, some sell their viewers to advertisers. All market themselves with the to implicit promise that they're helping men improve their lives, but instead sell a view of masculinity that is cut off from emotions, evaporates. Uh, I'm sorry. Uh, hustle over the valorize hustle over a well balanced social life and encourage staying at home instead of taking the risk of getting out there in the world to meet people. Tommy Sotomayor, I had this conversation with Tommy Sotomayor about years ago. I had the same conversation with Obsidian. You got all this massive following. None of y'all talking about solving the problem. No, we don't care. We're just going to go after the black woman. And you got these clowns who are Delta November still following that. But yet they want to sit at the bank of a lake yelling at ducks. and calling people retarded. But anyway, let's keep it moving, right? Calling women the R word and stuff. The group share a fixation on women and feminism as the cause for men's personal and social problems. Historian Michael Kendall calls this emotional reaction aggravated entitlement. It happens when people have power and privilege sees improvements in equality and exclusiveness as a loss of status and thus a personal attack on themselves. The business model only works if men stay angry and stay lonely. A man who builds genuine, genuine friendship, sees a therapist, and process his feelings does not need a 97 course on dominance frameworks. Oh, like D.O. Watts? Like D.O. Watts is trying to do with the manosphere enclave? Loneliness is a product, understanding. Oh, and D.O. Watts is a 300-pound man angry that women in Austin, Texas won't touch him. Yet he wanted to be a passport bro. See what I'm talking about? Anyway, um, yeah, I'm naming names in this. The loneliness is the product, understanding that changes how you watch the pitch. According to the Gallup aggregated data from 2023 and 2024, 25% of U.S. men aged 15 to 34 said they feel lonely a lot of the previous day, signifying higher than the natural average of 18%, and the total for young women also 18. That number is striking. What's more striking is how rarely the conversation asks what men are doing about building relationships rather than who they're blaming about for the absence of them. Men are lonely not because they don't want social connection, but because they were never taught how to cultivate it. The reality is that men have no relational framework for eva- um, elevating the experience of loneliness through vulnerable connections with others. That is a general problem worth addressing. It is a structural and learned problem that one has nothing to do with women's choices. Men's friendship tends to operate through a sacred shared activity. See, the answer. I'm talking about the answer. I'm gonna tell about what is the solution. The solution is right here, and I'm gonna tell you what my solution to this problem is. We'll talk about that later on. Um, Shared activity rather than a direct emotional uh, disclosure, which works until it doesn't. When the pickup basketball game ends and the work team dissipates, disperse rather, and the marriage only becomes the only meaningful relationship left, the scaffolding shows. The question isn't why women won't fill the gap, it's why the gap was allowed to widen that further, whether men are willing to do something about it. Loneliness is real, but the gender framing is misleading. A 2025 Pew Research study found that there is no statistical significant gender disparity in loneliness. The difference is just 1%, with 16% of men and 15% of women reporting feeling lonely or isolated all or most of the time. That feeling tends to get buried in conversations that that the prefer the academic framing. The evidence suggests that the loneliness epidemic is not a blanket crisis for men in particular, but some men are struggling more than women, but other groups of women are also potentially at risk. Or a college degree may be more important in understanding differences in loneliness and such social isolation than gender. None of this is to dismay what individual men experience, but when framing becomes men are uniquely suffering because of women, it's only misrepresents the data. It also crowds out the real conversation, which is about what structural and emotional skills are missing on how to build them. The cognitive move. Oh, there's a cognitive move that appears so fast it's easy to miss. Men feels disconnected. The cultural script tells him that the purpose of the woman in his life is to provide connection and emotional warmth. That's why I have a problem with people like Sir Ism. That's why I got a problem with these guys who want to be pimps and players, right? Get you a botch. First thing, you can talk about business. You can talk about other things. It's always get you a botch as if that's supposed to be the answer to everything. Sorry, Sir Ism. It doesn't work like that. Let me check the chat room, by the way. I'm reading this. Great topic. Are you blaming the aloneness academic on the manosphere, or are you saying that the manosphere perpetrate both? Both. The answer is both. If you look at the wing, okay, if you look at the MRAs, right, in the MGTOWs, if you look at the SYSBM and the passport bros, if you look at the true force loneliness in the incels, right, they all have a problem with women, but for different reasons. Okay, they all have a problem with women, but for different reasons. See, the manosphere is not a the manosphere is a loose coalition. All right, you got this guy online who thinks the manosphere is on one big group. No, it's a loose coalition of you know men's rights, MRA, MGTOW, True for what's the one um the PUAs, um the PUA types, and then you got the IGMOR and uh the black, the IGMORs, which is the black man, which is part of the black manosphere narrative, and then you got the MR agents, which is the Asian manosphere, and you got the SPI, which is the Hispanic manosphere. See, the manosphere is not one big giant glob of individuals. It's a loose coalition of these groups whose problems, whose targeted is women. So just because you hear Obsidian is different from Anger Man because the objective is different. See, if you're going to talk about the manosphere, you have to really study them. Get up inside of their in their live streams and talk to them. You'll see the difference of what their objectives are. But again, it's like communists and socialism. It's kind of like Hitler and Stalin are on both ends of the political spectrum, but they are still enemies of the United States. I'll put it like that. One is Hitler, the other one is Stalin. Both are enemies of the United States. If I'm gonna put it like that, okay. So both. So to your question, Deacon Dave, it's both. One faction is caused by the MGTOWs are, when it comes to MGTOWs and the incels, they're caused by the first. The other group is caused by then perpetrates the loneliness. So it's both. If you understand, Anger Man, O'Shea, and them, they perpetrate the loneliness. Obsidian perpetrate the loneliness. Dr. T. Son Johnson and B. Just Igmore perpetrate. Uh, so the underlying issue has always been the culture. I see A, B, T here. Okay. So let me keep it moving. Let me try to relax myself real quick. Where was I at? Women are increasingly less willing to do that as an unpaid, un recip uh sides. Oh, fuck it, side job. The man experienced her refusal as an abandonment when it's in fact just a boundary. A common purported narrative from some males is that loneliness is due to females being too picky, independent, simply not choosing to be intimate or in a romantic relationship with them. And that's what I heard. That's what I heard when I heard 18 letter uh went into a rant. Now I'm known to have this rant about how some women are too picky, and then they get mad at you for being picky. Um, like me, I don't want no tattoos. You need to be uh, you know, I, it, I don't care if you're BBW or your body size. Just don't have no tattoos and being a certain. You have to have a certain aesthetic, right? Yeah, I require a certain aesthetic about certain women, right? If you got a tattoo all over yourself, I'm not finding you attractive. Don't be like what's that singer? Don't be like Sexy Red or what's that one that hangs around with Sexy Red? From what's her name? From Memphis. Wait a minute, Sexy Red, and then there's what's the other rap female rap artist? Gorilla, right? Everybody said they're beautiful. No, no, they're not. And a lot of black men are told we got to accept that. But that's for a whole other different story. I'm gonna keep it moving, right? I'm gonna keep that moving. So anyway, I kind of agree with 18, but at the same time, he's too focused on that. But anyway, um, as a sidebar issue, the word "to" does a lot of work in that sentence. It implies that women's standards are the are obsolete and not the quality of what's being offered in a relationship. The deeper problem there is a conflated loneliness with the lack of romantic validation from women, indicating a core problem of the manosphere, placing the view of romantic and sexual relationships above all others, and blaming women when they are lonely as a result of their lack of social connections. Like how some men like Fatty and Ali will tell me, will tell y'all, because I don't talk to these Negroes. Will tell y'all that, well, you're lonely because you're too picky. You need a man. You're a loser because you don't got a man. They use narratives like that over there. The deeper problem here isn't conflating. Wait a minute. Did I read that already? No, I didn't. The deeper problem here is conflating loneliness with the lack of romantic, saying indicating a score problem of the man. Okay, wait a minute. I already did that. I did that. Romantic relationships are never designed to be a substitute for a full social life. When it gets treated as one, the relationship collapses under the weight, and then someone has to be blamed. Okay, blaming women is easier than building a emotional vocabulary. Traditional masculine socialization often limits men's ability to identify and express emotions, making it difficult to communicate mental health struggles effectively. That's a character flaw. It's a gap that gets trained in early and reinforced constantly. The problem is what happens in the absence of that vocabulary. When one can't name what you're feeling, the feelings don't disappear. They come out sideways as withdrawal, as irritability, as resentment, as a narrative in which someone else is responsible for your internal state. Depression in men often goes unrecognized because it may not resemble persistent sadness. It manifests as irritability, anger, overworking, emotional numbness, or risk taking behaviors. A man who has never been taught to say, I feel lonely and afraid, I don't know how to fix it, has put that somewhere. The manosphere provides that convenient, provides a very convenient somewhere. It has a name, feminism, and a villain, women, in a community of other men who validate the story. Naming the emotion accurately would require a level of introspection. Oh, I'm sorry. What was IGMOR supposed to stand for? BGS, in perspective, black men of reform. IGMOR. But you had not been in perspective, BGS. Just saying. You hadn't been in perspective, Green Gorilla. You had not been respective of uh, Edward Anderson. Just saying. Overworking, emotional numbness, or wish taking pain. Okay, okay, where was that? Okay, naming the emotion accurately would require a level of introspection, and for many of these men who've never been modeled or rewarded, the depression in men looks like anger. Let me see. Let me check the chat room. Check the chat room. Okay, passport bros is a remedy for the culture. The mind has to be ready for the necessary changes for it to work. Few, repeat that again. Few understand that. You're right. Um, I mean, tattoos like you have your whole arm, your whole sleeve is tattooed. Um, you got something on your chest. Um, your whole leg inked up, stuff like that. Uh, am I depressed? Nah, not really. Why? Um, is this an article? Um, I think this was is an opinion piece, right? But let me talk about this real quick, right? Because I'm gonna talk about the solution. I'm gonna tell you what these solutions are. Um, where was that? Oh, this one is important. Young men are increasingly disengaging from traditional mental health. I forgot. I forgot. Queen, I want to thank you, Queen, for being my host. Uh, for yesterday, I'm gonna thank you because I went to bed and thank you again for holding it up for me. You know. So anyway, shout to Queen Sunkiss. Um, where was I at? I should have called you last night, Queen. Should call you last night and thank you, but I wasn't sure you was at work or not. Where was I at? This one's important. Young men are increasingly disengaging from the traditional mental health services, even as rates of depression and self-deletion among this demographic continue to climb. According to the CDC, men are 3.5 times more likely to die by self-deletion than women. That gap hasn't driven by men being fundamentally more fragile, is driven by untreated depression that doesn't look like a textbook version. When depression presents as irritability, aggression, and the insistence that the world is unfair, it's easy to build a political philosophy. Uh oh, what did I tell y'all for months? What did I tell y'all for months? Why you think, oh my God, y'all, finally somebody saying something that I've been saying. And nobody, finally somebody saying what I've been saying. I'm going to read this again. When depression presents as irritability, aggression, and an insistence that the world is unfair, it's easy to build a political philosophy around it rather than a treatment plan. Donald Trump was elected because of SBE. The guy who became president of Poland was elected because of SBE. The last president of South Korea was elected by the Asian manosphere because, see, but Big J don't know what he's talking about. Why you think Mr. Fantastic, Anger Man, O'Shea, Anton talks that nonsense of conservatism and Trumpism? Why you think the white men like Tony Robinson is part of the Reform Party, which is a political party that's backed by Donald Trump and Nigel Farage? Those in the UK, y'all know what I'm talking about. Those who are in the United Kingdom, who's in the British area, who's in London, y'all know what I'm talking about. This is a narrative. This is the same. The pipeline exists. The red pill to fascist pipeline exists. I was asleep. Thanks for not calling. All right. Yeah. I was assuming. I was assuming you was asleep. And granted, it was 11 hours. Yeah. Yeah. I assume 11 hours. Yeah. I said, man, I'll call her tomorrow. I'll call you tomorrow. Shit. Yeah, man. Uh, a black is a okay. Well, whatever. SKC put on a clinic yesterday. He's a boom when he shows up. Yeah. Even though I disagree with SKC a whole lot, at least at least with him, it's a highbrow conversation. It's not that Delta November crap, you know. But anyway, let me get back to where I was at. Oh, I don't hate Trump. Okay. Well, I know you don't. Anyway, where was I at? Right. Uh, it's easier to build a political philosophy around it than a treatment plan. The grievance narrative offers a depressed man something that feels like agency. He's not sick. He's right. Women in his life, past and present, are the symptom, not his own unaddressed pain. The cost of this substitution is enormous. 40% of men surveyed in one study met the screening standards for depressive symptoms, while 44% have experienced suicidal ideation within the last 2 weeks. And men are 4 times more likely than women to commit self deletion, uh, accounting to 80% of all deletions, self deletions, despite making up only 50% of the population. Those numbers are not the result of women's choices, they're a result of untreated mental illness in men who are told that the treatment was the weakness. Like how somebody yelling at ducks, saying women ain't shit, but you yelling at ducks at a lake. I meet that brothers. Anyway, but as far as 70% of young men avoid seeking mental health care, research suggests. Let that land for a moment. 7 in 10. That's not a niche problem. This conditioning creates real barriers. Studies indicate roughly 40% of men still seek help as a sign of weakness. That stigma persists even as conversations about men's mental health has expanded. The public conversation gets louder than the internal script, the one instilled in boyhood, doesn't update just because someone is on a podcast says it should. Self stigma is the mechanism that converts public shame into private avoidance. It's not that men worries more men will see him going to therapy, is that he has so terribly internalized the belief that seeking help is unmasculine that going to therapy feels like betrayal of his own identity. The grievance narrative bypassed that entirely. It requires no vulnerability, no admission of struggle, no change, just requires agreement. The internet provides a community that confirms the blame. Yes. We about to this segment. This segment is going to be uh, sponsored by SBE. Shame, blame, and explain. Okay, SBE. Shame, blame, and explain. Let's get back to it. Right. The manosphere describes corners of the internet where young, lonely men congregate to complain about the perceived influence of feminism. The crucial word is congregate. Men who are struggling with isolation are finding community, just a community organized around a shared grievance rather than a genuine connection. Just like this Negro, I got to talk about this because I got a roast right real quick. You got a Negro, a black man who's sitting on the sitting at the banks of a lake yelling at ducks about women, will sell his own blackness to a racist white man because him and that racist white man said they are MGTOW. I'm men going my own way. Yet you're a black man, he's a white man. Both of y'all saying y'all MGTOW and y'all got problems with women, but this white man called y'all monkeys, apes, boom, buffoons, all that, and you still accept this Negro around y'all. Like how some of y'all accept Just Pearly Things around y'all when Just Pearly Things went ahead and Me Too her black coach by the name of Marcus Robinson. Let's keep it moving, right? Some of y'all gonna get mad about this live stream. Some of y'all can get mad about this live stream. Um, so where was I at? These ideas are easily fabricated online, especially through video. Due to algorithms, they target, pursue lonely people. Direct. Oh, hold. Let's talk about lonely people. The same niggas that you see on Bomb Cherry's channel, I'm talking about the women, on Before Crisis channel, the same people you see on DJ Witch Doctor's channel. No shade to DJ Witch Doctor. But every time I hear Black Dove talk, every time I hear them Negroes talking about this, that, and third about women, or this, that, and third about women, I'm letting you know. I'm letting you know what's going on, because this is another case. Hold on. This is another case of the major insecure groups on YouTube. The Black Power types, the Manosphere, and the Sisterhood. The three most major insecure groups online. Okay? Let's get right back. Let me get right back on here, right? So, where was I at? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. After she found out she wasn't special, you must be talking about Pearl. Yes. Yes. When that so-called coach was with her sister, so she decided to travel back home and get her former coach fired from his job. Right. See, let's get right back into focus. These ideas are fabric. Okay, hold on. Let me see. It carries whether you keep you watching. Content been around, built around outrage, and keeps the men watching. A video that says building friendship takes time and practice and discomfort does not have the same algorithm profile as one said women are the reason you're suffering. The community feels real when it is real, in the sense that the men in the generally there and responding. But the glue holding it together is a shared narrative that women are the problem, and that narrative has to be consistently maintained and escalated to stay functional. Accountability gets reframed as an attack. The central tenet of this ideology is the claim that men, not women, are the true victims of gender injustice. This narrative reframes social progress as a zero sum game in which every gain for women represents a loss for men. This is an architecture that makes accountability impossible. Any suggestion that that a man might look inward gets immediately coded as an assault. Okay, I call bullshit on this. Let me tell you why I call bullshit on this. It's like when people try to tell me you need to do better. No, that is an attack. Because on this part, I gotta say it is an attack, because you only say that to people who done something bad or done something evil. And you usually hear that when a woman is telling that to a man. You don't hear women telling that to other women. And you surely don't see men telling that to other men. You know, it's kind of like let me say it like you know how like a person might see an ugly baby and he says nice shoes. It's kind of like that. But anyway, I know people gonna say, Big Jack, I didn't mean it like that, but that's how I'm gonna take it, because you don't tell the other people to do better. None of y'all tell Bomb Cherry to do better. Just saying. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. So I'm sniping at people while I'm reading this. I'm using this article to roast. I'm roasting the women and I'm roasting the men. Both sides gonna catch hell. Even though this article's on the manager, I'm roasting everybody. Everybody's getting this work. I'm sorry. Okay. Now where was I at? Right. Um. If a woman says, "I need you to manage your own emotions rather than making me responsible for them," that becomes evidence of female hostility rather than a reasonable request. If a therapist or writer or friend points out the blame narrative isn't helping, they dismiss as a part of the same system. The closed loop is by design. It is a framework constructed as to be unfeasible. Rather than unlearning negative uh, habits around emotions and communication, these men are demonizing women. The irony is that feminists has been advocating for decades for men to allow to express emotion, build deeper relationships, and take part equally in the private sphere. And the very tools that would evaluate alleviate male loneliness, seeking, including therapy, communication. I'm sorry, not communicate, community. I'm sorry, I'm tired. Community and emotional openness are being rejected by the manosphere in favor of hyper independence and performative dominance. Let me see. Let me see here. You know what? I'm gonna read this. Read the rest of this. I'm gonna go about these solutions here in a minute. I'm talking about these solutions here in a minute. What needs to be done, right? Hold on. Was okay. Okay. See, this is what talking about. This is what I'm talking about. Y'all never tell her that she's wrong. Now she been on a tear all year, silent. Now she started some old bullshit 2 days ago on somebody else's channel. A channel that you don't go to. She started a whole lot of bullshit. And y'all never tell her no. Y'all never tell her to stop. Now she went after me and Pure Butterfly the other day. Y'all never tell her to stop. Just saying, y'all never, she got the need to be right. See, I think men should be problem solvers. And being there so you can talk to women on the panel because these women are single and shit. You just there because there's access to women. I'm not on that channel, but my name is in her fucking mouth all the time. I ain't poking shit. So now where was I at, right? Um let's see, where was I at? Oh yeah. Um the tools that could help are being rejected in favor of the narrative. This is what Obsidian does, right? Or would do. This is the one that costs the most. Many young men still feel pressured to appear tough, self-reliant, and aggressive. Studies have revealed that men who cling to rigid ideals of masculinity significantly worse reported significantly worse outcomes, including specifically higher suicidal ideations among men strictly living within the most restrictive masculine frameworks. Uh, that comes from that conservative um, pull you up by your bootstraps. That came from or the rugged individualism. Rugged individualism is a term that came from Glover. I'm sorry, wrong president. Come from Herbert Hoover when he ran for president in 1928. No community survived with rugged individualism. That's a lie. You can go to any biography of any president that was born in a log cabin. He did. They did not make that log cabin by themselves. The white people who went west did not build log cabins by themselves. They had help. And I'm not talking about the slaves. I'm talking about other church, communities was built around the church, and then, you know, pastors, deacons, so and so will one day go to one weekend will help brother Dave and brother Stan the next week to build that house. They didn't build a log cabin by themselves. So the idea of rugged individual that came from Herbert Hoover in 1928, that's a fallacy. That's a fallacy argument. But anyway, let me get back to where I was at, right? Therapy works, friendship works, emotional literacy works. These are not abstract suggestions. These are the things that actually reduce male loneliness, reduce male suicide, and build a kind of relationships that men say they want. Men who are partnered, married, uh, live lives. Oh wait, married lives longer. That doesn't make any sense. What you just said. Who are partnered, married, life longer lives, live longer lives than single men, and have better mental health than unpartnered men. And healthy relationships appear to reduce loneliness, depression, and suicide. Okay, and the pathway to those relationships run through emotional skill building, not through grievance. This narrative being sold online promises something that feels more satisfying in the short term, someone to blame. As long as the conversation stays there, the men who are generally suffering remain stuck. The women around them continue doing emotional labor they never sign up for. And the people profiting from the outrage keep selling them supplements. Anger Man, BGS, Dr. T. Son Johnson, talking about y'all. You know, the men who are generally lonely and struggling deserve better than a than a political framework that keeps them company in their misery while blocking every exit. Hood assertive, talking about you. The plane underneath the blame is real. The disconnection is real. The gap between what men are taught emotional life looks like and what actually takes to build a meaningful relationship, that gap is real and it has consequences. What's not real is the idea that women are responsible for closing that gap. That's not their independence, not their standards, not their decision to stop being unpaid emotional support for people who have not built the capacity for reciprocal relationships. The presence or absence of women in a man's life has never been vulnerable uh, that determines whether he's capable of connection. That variable, I'm sorry, that variable is internal and it's addressable, and it has not required anyone to sit in a room full of resentful strangers validate each other's worst instincts. The 12 reasons above are not 12 separate problems, there are 12 angles on the same problem. A culture that never taught men what to do with pain, or the entire online industry that finds it more probable to redirect that pain outward or than to help men then process it. The men who find their way out of that loop, who build a therapist, a friend group, an emotional vocabulary, a self, doesn't depend on the woman to hold it together, are not doing something unusual. They're doing what was available the whole time. I'm going to talk about the solution, right? Because we all saw Royce. We all saw what Obsidian did to Chrissy, doxing Chrissy. You see what Anger Man had done on the Discord server. We see all these things that happen, right? Adrian McGowan getting deleted by in that college classroom by Tony, by my aunt Anthony. You see all this, right? So we got all this, right? So and what Cynthia G have done to black men who are in interracial relationships, shatter fans coming at black men who had white women, who had white wives and stuff like that. Uh, she got her fans targeting them with that pro black nonsense. See, don't think I'm just addressing the men. I'm addressing the women too, or like how the BWE will use white men to target white men from Russia to target black men here in America, or like how the pink pill use certain men to target black men with, like the Veganator storyline that happened in 2016. Oh yes, I'm running down the whole gamut of his history. I guess you can. I guess I'm, you don't kick. I guess whatever. Um, I want me and Super Sly was talking about this bill that was in California, and I'm serious when I said they need to shut this whole damn thing down. I'm serious about what I said. Oh, Big J, we need to get our shit off. Oh, Big J, what about freedom of speech? Man, fuck all that. Because what y'all doing is promoting further problems and not solving problems. You got people around here, Anger Man for one, Obsidian for one, Rolo Tomasi, Fresh and Fit, Sneeko, uh, uh, I forgot the other guy's name for, you know, uh, if I could think long time ago, I can talk about Simple Pete, but he's dead. He's no longer here. I can think of at least 10 names online, whether that's male or female, whether that's black or white, right? Who have done evil things in the sake of driving the narrative of the gender war. They went unpunished, and now we need bills like this. Now, Senate Bill uh, 771 did not pass. By the way, it was vetoed, right? And it was vetoed. And let me get back over here, right? Uh, Senate Bill 1771, personal rights, liability, social media platforms. The link is out in the description box. And Gavin Newsom went ahead and vetoed the bill, saying I'm returning Senate Bill 771 without my signature. This bill seeks to hold social media platforms liable for algorithms that relay content violating specific specify California civil rights laws to its users. I support the author's goal in ensuring that our nation leading civil rights laws applied equally online and offline. I likewise shared the author's concern about the growth of discriminatory threats, violence, and coercive um, harassment online. I am concerned, however, that this bill is premature. Our first step should be determine if and what extent existing civil rights laws are specifically to address violations uh, perpetrated through algorithms, and to the extent our laws prove inadequate, they should be posted at the same time. And for these reasons, I cannot sign the bill. Sincerely, Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, right? But I'm going to say this, right? This bill should pass. And let me add on something too. Let me add on the solution, right? Um, Let me add on the solution to this. Juvenile delinquency was bad not in the 1970s. Juvenile delinquency was not bad in the 1990s. Juvenile delinquency was worse post 1940. Between 1940 and 1954, juvenile delinquency was climbing. See, nobody reports on this because it's not politically expedient. It's not politically expedient. It's not popular because the narrative is, well, we got a two-parent household. Well, juvenile delinquency was still flourishing, despite the fact there was two-parent household. But because conservatives and coons love to use the trope of the single mother or the black single mother in the welfare program and the Monahan report, they never talk about the juvenile delinquency of the early 50s and and the post World War II. Juvenile delinquency of that time was started by not just World War II, not just Korea War. Also, there was economic disasters post World War One. The recession of 1947. Oh, recession 1946, recession of 1948, and the Korean War that follows. A lot of teenagers was stealing, join gangs, doing all sort of illegal activity. And the cure of it was, a lot of the problem is boys at the time did not have anything um to feel self-worth. You have to create something to get young boys that feel self-worth. The more he feels self-worth, less likely he would gravitate towards the demagogues in society. Like that, the leader of the gang down the block. Or in this case, the manosphere that's online. So back in the early 1950s, Ike Eisenhower created had the uh, highway law of 1954, where they built. Now I know people going to say, "Well, Big J, well, Eisenhower used a highway bill to destroy black land." I know. I was affected. My family was affected by that law too. But anyway, that's besides the point. But anyway, the point is, right. Um, the highway system hired young men to help build some of the highways. Same way, like 20 years prior, 15, 20 years prior, when Franklin D. Roosevelt had the New Deal, and that in the public works program took young men and put them to work. Hoover Dam, the Tennessee Valley Authority, um, other projects. Those men, crime actually went down during that time period. And that's what needs to happen today. In order to destroy the manosphere, in order to destroy the black women empowerment movement, in order to destroy all of it, and in the gender war, is to get men to work so he can make himself feel worth and value education and value um blue collar jobs like plumbing and carpentry. Not everybody needs to go to a 4-year university. They need programs on that. And if there are programs on that, it needs to be advertised. And yes, you're right. They stopped Job Corps. They cut after school program. Yeah, cut all that. But and you know what's so funny about those who cut Job Corps and those who cut after school programs are the same people who they voted for. And that's conservatism. Conservatives or MAGA. See, they shot themselves in the foot. They shot themselves in the foot. So anyway, I want to say thank y'all who's in my chat room. I would drop the link, but I ain't gonna do that again because I don't want to fall asleep on my live stream. So shout out to Queen Sun Kiss for holding it up for me. Um, check the links in the description box. So thank everybody who's in my chat room. I read these articles in that congressional bill. Oh, you know what? I didn't read that congressional bill or that legislative bill, I should say. You just got off from 10-hour shift. Oh, okay. Um, I got nothing else to rant about. I got nothing else to rant about. I know what I'm about to. I know this live stream is going to piss somebody off because I mentioned some names. I don't give a fuck no more. I got a song coming. That's right. I got a song coming to a special song somebody. So be on the look out for that. And y'all be easy. And that's why I'm politically involved because I want to see black women empowerment and the black manosphere to be gone. Okay, I have a personal problem with the BWE and black manosphere. I got a problem with both, and I have a political problem with I have a political and social problem with the manosphere as a whole. But you know, hold on. Okay, I guess y'all want me to stay up. You know what? I'm in a good mood right now. I'm in a good mood right now. Um, I'll just play it again, man. You know what? I gotta listen to the whole song though. I gotta listen to the whole song. Uh, I got that saved on my computer. I gotta say, but anyway, I'll play it for right now for y'all. Hold on. But thank y'all for the. Well, guess what, Supreme King Coon? We got to reverse that. We got to reverse that part. But where I'm at, we still have shop. We still have in the high school that I used to attend, that I still see. They still have shop. They still have uh making your own lawnmowers and stuff like that. We're at Econ Science and welding class. Well, I'm here in the rural area, so we our classes like welding and class like welding and mechanics for the boys. Yeah, we still got that. So yeah. But anyway, you can play that again. Let me play that again. Thank you for the donation though, Deacon Dave. I'm just gonna play that again. Right. So yeah. And I'm serious about what I said last year. It's time for y'all to go. It's time for these niggas to go. I'm being serious on that. Anyway, let me get out of here. Uh, it's been a pleasure for y'all talking to y'all. I'm gonna take it easy today. Not gonna drop the link. So forgive me for not dropping the link. But I after yesterday, that was too much. Uh, said I'm in Indiana, and we still had trade school where junior seniors in high school can go get a trade and for the graduate from my yeah yeah. Siri, type that for me if it's messed up. Oh, hey, listen, I understand. Listen, I understand. So, uh, oh yeah, in May, um, didn't I tell you to leave me alone, May? I'm gonna let you know right. Hey, May, leave me the fuck alone, woman. Being serious, because you over there pulling strings. Just at the one who's stalking you, both of y'all pulling strings with Bomb, Cherry, and them. Stop the cap. Okay, let me get out of here. Um, let me get out of here. Y'all be easy, and I'll see y'all next time. Big J out.
I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.